Hey everyone, it's July 30th, and that means that if today's your birthday, you share with English-born serial killer Frederick Bailey Deeming, known as the Windsor murderer, who killed at least 6 victims and may have been Jack the Ripper, and that is him right up there. Deeming was born in Leicestershire, England, and at the age of 16 ran away from home, soon marrying a woman with whom he had 4 children. They made their way to Australia, where he became a petty criminal, stealing and engaging in fraud schemes to swindle his marks out of money. In the early 1880s, he was convicted of stealing brass pipe fittings from his employer, as well as fraudulent insolvency when it was a crime to be broke. So I guess things actually could be worse. He returned to England with his wife and kids just after he was involved in a Transvaal diamond mine swindle, which is now part of South Africa. He left his family in Liverpool on the west coast of England while he pretended to be an Aussie who had moved to the town of Hull, which lies on the opposite side of the country. Deeming wooed a young woman in Hull and married her bigamously, but after a brief honeymoon, he abandoned his new wife and took all of the expensive gifts they had been given his newlyweds with him. After spending 9 months behind bars for fraud against a jeweler, he went back to the Liverpool area and rented a house where his family stayed with him. His next action was the worst thing to happen to Liverpool until the release of Octopus's Garden in 1969. He had the floors to the kitchen torn out and redone, but before the concrete was poured, he cut the throats of his children, aged 10, 7, 5, and 18 months, and strangled his wife, burying them beneath the new floor. He then married yet another woman and left with his new bride on a steamship back to Australia, on which he annoyed his fellow passengers with made-up tales of adventures he had never experienced and constantly falsely accused others of stealing his possessions. On Christmas Day in 1891, he killed his new wife and buried her under the hearthstone in one of their bedrooms. He then left, but he had paid a month's rent in advance, delaying anyone entering the premises. In March of 1892, a new prospective tenant was looking at the property, and they complained of a terrible smell. The owner of the property had the hearthstone raised and discovered a rotting corpse. Deeming had already proposed to still another woman in Sydney by this point, and had left for Western Australia to take a job. A continent-wide manhunt was underway, and he was quickly tracked down and arrested. The bodies of his first wife and children were then discovered back in England, and authorities began to connect all his various fake identities and litany of crimes. He was tried for murder in Melbourne and was convicted when the jury rejected his defense that he had contracted syphilis, which caused him to see visions of the ghost of his mother, who was responsible for his behavior. Deeming was hanged on May 19, 1892, bringing an end to his horrible existence. Posthumously, it has been speculated that he could have been Jack the Ripper because he was in Whitechapel at the time of many of the famed murders, but we'll never know for sure. Deeming's death mask is on display in Melbourne if you ever want to see it. If this is your birthday, I hope you have a great day. Leave me a comment so I can wish you a happy birthday. If you know someone whose birthday it is today, send them this video so I can find out all about their birthday twin. And to Frederick Bailey Deeming, I say, happy birthday, you bastard.